First this afternoon, in the days and weeks following the death of a loved one, survivors quickly learned there is a lot of paperwork and so-called red tape involved in settling their loved one's affairs. And there is one key item you will need on hand: copies of the death certificate. So in today's Straight Talk with the funeral directors, we get some helpful advice on what's needed. Beth Buxton is a funeral director with Edwards Funeral Service, and Rich Hudson is the chapel operations liaison at Edwards. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Beth, another wonderful topic, another topic about things that families don't think about in that time of stress and grief. Let's talk about some of that paperwork needed. How do you get the ball rolling and help people do that?
We really get it rolling at the first arrangement conference.
You do?
Yes. Families are focused typically on the service itself and what they'd like to do to celebrate the life of their loved one. So we try to guide them then through the documents that they're going to need to help them close out estates and take care of the assets after, kind of the business after the service. So gathering that vital statistic information during the conference is vital, just because that way we can go ahead and start the ball rolling towards obtaining that death certificate for them.
And who does have the death certificate, and how do families obtain these documents?
Well, we go ahead and we put all of the information into a system through the Board of Health.
Okay.
We send that document over to the physician's office via email or physically take it. The physician signs that death certificate with the cause of death, date of death, time of death, and then we go ahead and retrieve that death certificate from the physician's office and take it to the Board of Health for filing. So once that occurs, we can get certified copies for the family, and the number of certified copies depends on what the family is trying to accomplish.
And these are things that you can help a family through.
It certainly is.
And Rich, as a liaison, I guess that's one of your jobs, is working with folks on issues that they weren't thinking about. And you try to, as you say, you're there for aftercare as well. How does that work?
Typically, when a family experiences a loss and we've gotten through the services, one of my roles with Edwards Funeral Service is to provide the aftercare. And we look at aftercare as anything that family may need or not quite understand. Especially in these times, it's not as simple to get things done. Different institutions, the banking systems, retirement accounts, home mortgages, different companies require different documentation as proof that a death's occurred. So I can help them by helping them get the death certificates that they're going to need, sitting down with them and helping them do some planning. Because there are institutions that will accept a copy but don't require originals. So we don't want them purchasing a lot of documentation that they don't need.
Wow, it sounds like it could really fill your head with things that people aren't familiar with, Beth, and that could create even more stress.
It can. I mean, families are already stressed enough. They've experienced a loss. They're going through the grieving process. Now all the business matters are coming at them after the service is over. The family has went home, maybe relatives that were visiting, and then it can be a daunting task to sit down and really look over your accounts, what assets you have, how are we going to go about filing for those proceeds. It's a lot for a family to think about.
How many different people need a copy of that death certificate? And can you get several copies then to answer all those people who say they need a copy of that? Rich, you're nodding your head.
I am, because a lot of times families don't know, and that's part of our job is the education component. Typically, I do recommend obviously one certified in the beginning. We encourage them not to purchase a lot of them. In Franklin County, for example, the cost of a certified certificate is $25. And we don't want the family incurring extra costs that they really don't need to, because that's another portion of our aftercare service that if they can call us at any given time, we'll go down to the health department for them and get those copies for them.
Wow.
And pick them up to make sure that they have what they need. But as far as initial copies, one should do it. And again, Gail, if I could, this is where even pre-planning for anyone comes into play. Because we can sit down with someone at no charge and do what we call a wish list, and to give them information on things to look for and what to plan for, see what type of accounts they have. So in fact, if they do experience a loss, then they're better prepared on the business end, because as Beth was saying, at the time of death, just the initial shock factor and the emotional roller coaster, they don't have time to think about business. They have to start that healing process immediately.
And that's too what you bring up, because Beth, we've talked about pre-planning before, but it's always about what the person wants, their service, what kind of atmosphere do they want to create. But there's some nuts and bolts things that need to be answered too, and this might be a good time to do them.
That's right.
Well, people I know can reach out to you, and we have your information up there, and as always, wonderful information for our viewers. Beth, thank you. Rich, welcome. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.